Hello, and welcome to another special YouTube video. So, as always, not going to bore you guys with the usual jargon. You should know the rules by now. This next video that's being released today, or tonight, or whenever I'm releasing this, because I release videos really randomly. I never have a set time. But this is another Facebook Live video that I did back in 2016 at some point. This one is fairly more recent. I'd say it was at the end of 2016 when I started filming a lot better. And this one also takes place here at the new apartment. So obviously this has been within the past couple months. It's very Atari related. I show off some cool Craigslist pickups. I thought it was a pretty cool video. You guys might find it a pretty cool video. I like the stuff that I talk about, especially in the beginning of the video. Once again, another quick shout out to Forrest of Retro or Die. He is really getting me to open up a little bit more and be a little bit more personal. So this has definitely been getting me to open up a lot more and obviously reach back and search around for some more of my more, I guess, opinionated type pieces. But this is one of the topics that just totally gets my blood boiling. Craigslist, the new Let Go app. Of course, you have eBay, Amazon, Facebook now has a marketplace. I'm sure there's a few other websites that have marketplaces, and I hate all of them. Mostly because they're not used properly. I mean, eBay and Amazon aside, those websites at least will flag you and you'll lose points if you don't, like, give a product that somebody asked for, or if you post something that you don't have, or if you're trying to sell something you don't have, you'll get in trouble, so to speak, in those situations. But websites like Craigslist, there's no policing. Facebook Marketplace, there's no policing. That terrible Let Go app that came out of nowhere, and everyone and their grandma was talking about it, and everyone was telling you to download it, and then it just poof, disappeared. Nobody's talking about Let Go anymore. And you want to know why? Because they let go of that app. Come on now, that was a pretty good joke. I spent all night writing that. But seriously, what a shitty app. And the problem with all of these other facets, all of these other facets, is that I'm going to edit this part out. Any ran into was just people not getting back to me. I would reach out to them and they either wouldn't say anything, or I would reach out to them and then weeks later they'd say the item sold. Well, when the hell were you going to tell me that it sold? Like, I was messaging you and trying to get a hold of you. And some stuff they were selling was nice. And some stuff they were selling was cheap. But, like I said, there's nothing enforced. These websites aren't being checked. These websites aren't being looked over. They're just being run. That's it. And the only thing that the people running these websites care about is making money and making sure that the ad revenue is running. And that's it, or the ads are running to create ad revenue. And that's it. So if you're looking for a good place to just sell stuff, the good old-fashioned flea market or thrift store was probably going to be your best outlets, or like swap meets or things like that. The, big giant yard sales, basement sales, whatever you guys call them, depending on what neck of the woods you're from. Hell, even selling shit in the middle of the woods is probably going to be a better bet. But trying to sell shit, or especially buy shit, on any of these fucking apps or websites, it just gives me a damn headache. So I do briefly kind of touch on that in the beginning of the video, but I just kind of wanted to reiterate how crappy they are. Especially in today's day and age. I mean, with all of the social media and all of the various outlets we have, why is it so hard for somebody to get back to another person? I mean, there's like 18 different ways you could talk to somebody on your phone now. And I still get missed calls, drop calls, people not responding, nothing. Like, as we go forward, we take 18 steps back. It's just, I don't get it. But anyway, as you can tell, that's something that really rubs my whistle the wrong way. So, hopefully you guys enjoy this next Facebook Live re-edit, re-release, remaster, revision, whatever the hell you want to call it. Expect potentially maybe one more of these to come out. I know I still have to work on... Oh, yeah, I'm working on the action figure one right now. I did a really cool video about action figures that I was pretty happy with, so I'm probably going to edit that. I did do a crazy, like, hour-long Facebook Live video showing off all of my horror movies, but I really hated the lighting. It looked pretty bad. I feel like I could do that video much better justice, and also probably keep it under a half hour. So, I'm probably going to hit the sacks here, because I'm getting tired. Thanks for watching. I'm Jazzy Jeff, and I'm out.
Hello there, and welcome to a Facebook Live event brought to you by no one. So I was checking out some of my older Facebook Live videos, like early ones, before I started doing trading card video lives and the Dinosaur Dracula Fun Pack openings. I mostly just did live videos just because there was something on my mind. I recall a political one. I recall a one about the Ghostbusters reboot. I know I did one about mall memories, and just random stuff like that. But yeah, the whole point of this video was I've been so behind on trying to post stuff in relation to video game pickups. And just like the video title shows, if you have noticed, it's Craigslist pickups. And one quick thing about Craigslist is, at least around here in Center County, State College area, I've been using it seriously for like finding games and finding other stuff for, I'd say, a good solid 2.5 years now. And honestly, I've just been really bummed about it. A lot of people post on there, which is excellent. However, a lot of people don't actually follow through on the sales or on buying. And it doesn't matter whether I'm reaching out to somebody to purchase something or someone is reaching out to me to purchase something that I'm selling. It always seems to be that the conversation gets started and people are like, yes, this is what I'm selling. Or someone will reach out to me and say, hey, how much are you selling that for? Or I'm interested in it, can you tell me more about it? And then I'll respond to them, or they'll respond to me, and then that's it. And then the conversation just dies. And it never goes anywhere. Or the person doesn't follow up with it, or they don't give me any feedback, or I reach out to them and say, yes, I'm selling this item, you know, are you still interested? And then it doesn't go anywhere. So that's just me making my gripes about Craigslist. I hope that it gets better. But unfortunately, Craigslist is just one of those things that's sort of unreliable. There is the Let Go app, which I just started to use about a month ago, and that sucks as well. I mean, it's the same thing. A bunch of people I reached out to. Some people still had stuff listed that had sold, so they had to pull it off there. It's like, if you sell something, pull it down right away, because people are going to keep bothering you until that item's gone. And if I don't know that it's sold, I'm going to reach out to you, and then that sucks to find out that it was sold. But same thing on Let Go. A couple people I reached out to, didn't hear a damn thing from them. So I was like, whatever. So, of course, I finally got the Atari. I'm going to show it again real quick here. Super excited. I just never get tired of showing that off. The Atari Vader black model, of course. Huge shout out to Cartridges Galore in Altoona, Pennsylvania. If you're in the State College Altoona, Center County area, head on out there and check them out. Fantastic place. Great collection of games. They just got a ton of awesome stuff. But anyway, getting back to Craigslist. So today, I'm showing off the Atari games that I was able to acquire from a gentleman on Craigslist. Finally, someone did get back to me. It almost fell through. I didn't think I was going to hear from him, but thankfully I got lucky. I got 8 games for $5, which is an awesome, awesome deal. That's kind of why I was really, oh man, like freaking out almost, because I was like, that's an insane deal for fucking Atari games. So right up, we got Blackjack. So there it is. It literally is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's Blackjack for the Atari, kind of like Solitaire on the PC. The graphics are actually kind of shittier than I expected. They don't even really show cards. It's just like, A for ace and J for jack and like numbers and stuff like that. And they sort of have like a light outline of a card, but like not really. So it's as cheap and crappy as you can get. But I don't have this. Another thing is, I don't have any of these games. Thankfully, with all the collecting of Atari games I've been doing lately, I've only acquired one double, which is Combat. And I believe Combat is like one of the most produced games from Atari, aside from like my mind's going blank, but I know like Combat's a big one. I think Space Invaders is a big one. Pac-Man might be. I know they produced a fuck ton of ETs, but Combat is like insanely just overproduced. But that being said, can't complain when you only have one double, and I've collected over 40 some Atari games so far, so that's pretty good. I haven't really spent that much either. But getting back to it, so that's Blackjack. Moving along. This one I was super excited to get. Found out about it through the Mike and Bootsy play videos on Cinemassacre.com. Great duo. They have awesome chemistry together. And Bootsy's just really good at video games. I got Stampede. They did a bunch of video game reviews of Atari games, and Mike's a big Atari collector as well as a pretty big Atari player, and it's really neat to see somebody online who does who does Atari game reviews, because Nintendo's obviously really popular, the Sega Genesis is really popular, so you don't really have a whole lot of people talking about Atari. So I think it's really awesome that he does those videos. We have Video Olympics. So there is that. And actually this is really, really awesome. This is basically like 30 or 40 different versions of Pong, but they introduce a lot of different key components to make it to make Pong a lot more exciting. This really is sort of like the Olympics. They have hockey, tennis, basketball, like every sport you could possibly think of that involves kind of hitting the ball back and forth. They have like table tennis on here, soccer. So it's cool. It's really neat. They were very clever with how they designed the games, with the basketball game and the soccer game and hockey game and stuff like that. So, great pickup. An awesome 2-player game. Totally recommend it if you are a Atari collector. Totally recommend it if you're just looking for some fun co-op game with you and another person in the same room. Imagine that, playing video games with someone in the same room. It's not really even a thing anymore, which is crazy. But if you and your friends get together, a little party, people hanging out, Video Olympics by Atari, great stuff, a lot of fun, totally recommend it. Alright, up next we have, I'm going to hold off on that one for a minute, we have Street Racer. Basically just another sort of top-down, vertical racing game where you're going up the screen. Nothing super crazy. Once again, there's some red ink scribbled on this game. I'm assuming some little kid probably had this, or little kid got a hold of it at some point. But beggars can't be choosers when it comes to Atari collecting, because a lot of these games are over 30 years old, or, you know, 35 years old or less, depending on when it came out, because Atari games were kind of released all throughout the 80s, but in general, these are hard to find. These are... Hello, Jason. Welcome. These are hard to find, and these are... just in general, you're not going to find the greatest condition Atari games. So, a lot of fun, though. It's another great two-player game. Nothing super crazy. Just, you know, fun game. Interesting graphics, of course. Awesome sounds in this one. So, not much more to say. Alright, up next. Unfortunately, I could not get this game working. I'm going to try it again and see if I can get it working. Going back to what I said before, a lot of these games are 30 years older, maybe 40 years older. So, it's tough to expect them all to work perfectly, even with cleaning them really well and, you know, storing them well. Sometimes games just go kaboom. That was a really cheesy segue, but honestly, this is one of their more popular games. I don't know if you guys can see that, but basically you're sort of this burglar who's like dropping bombs down, and I think the point of it is to capture them. Like, you have to capture the bombs going off. But this was one of the more memorable games on the system. A lot of people who remember Atari remember Kaboom. I've always wanted to play this. I've seen a lot of different YouTubers and video game reviewers talk about this game. So hopefully I can get this working. And another really interesting fact about Kaboom is, obviously, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Atari did release some adult-themed video games. And they were sort of in the realm of, like, naughty, kind of, trying to figure out a good way to say this. Not like Playboy, but more like porno sort of type of games, or pornography type of games, so to speak. Well, more so like porno, where they were sexual related games they were legitimately games towards adults, towards the dirty adults of the 70s and early 80s. One of them was called Beat 'em and Eat 'em. Obviously, you can figure that one out for yourself. Another one, I believe, was called the Philadelphia Flasher or something weird like that. I'm having trouble recalling them now. But Kaboom, this one was turned into one of the sexual games called Philadelphia Flasher, maybe, or something like that. There was also Custard's Revenge was another popular one. But anyway, Kaboom was basically turned into one of those sexual games, and it's like it was like two guys, like, beating off on the roof, and you, I think, were a woman, and you had to catch what was being... Anyway, you get the point, don't want to get too graphic, but that's actually really funny, kind of a neat, interesting tidbit when it comes to Kaboom, so... Alright, moving along from all that nonsense. Another very popular franchise was Breakout, And here we have Super Breakout. I love the animation. It's like guys in outer space in astronaut suits. That has nothing to do with the game, but back in the 70s and 80s, the space race and like outer space and traveling there. It was like all the rage. It was like the big, cool thing that everybody talked about, and a lot of video games and computer systems sort of went with that theme of the space race and going into outer space and stuff. So that's why you have a lot of animation and like drawings and stuff that's space themed. Great game. I'm familiar with Breakout. I don't actually own the original Atari Breakout. Another game I need to get my hands on. But Super Breakout I actually like a lot because they take the initial design of Breakout and they make it a lot more. They add a lot more variables and they add a lot more different types and variations to the game. A lot of fun, very cool. Totally recommended. Another pickup if you're just looking for something fun to play. Very cool. Another game that was in really good condition. Like I said, most of these games were in really good condition. Can't complain too much. Blackjack unfortunately also had a little bit of red ink, but I keep saying beggars can't be choosers when it comes to this kind of stuff because these games are really old. I mean, even Nintendo games and Sega games are starting to get really old. I mean, it's 2016 already, so, a lot of these games are well over 20, 25, 30 years, like I said, because Atari goes all the way back to the late 70s, 77, 78 was kind of around when it came out. So these are games... Some of these games were released all the way back in the fucking 70s. So, definitely, some old stuff. Alright, before I get to the next one, I'll get to this one. Unfortunately, this was the worst one of the whole set. Couldn't really do a whole lot to save it. As you can tell, it's like completely annihilated. This is Warlords. Surprisingly, this game actually works, but due to how dirty it is, I don't really want to keep sticking this in my system because I don't want to like damage or dirty my system any more than it already is. It's kind of tough to clean an Atari. But yeah, I mean, you can even see like right here's like a rusty. Look at that rusty fucking nail. So. That's the thing, like, that's the tough thing about, especially Atari games, and even Nintendo, it's starting to happen to, like, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. A lot of people collected these and bought these, back in the 70s and 80s, and then as the years went on, their kids grew up, or they grew out of the systems, and, what do most families do with overstock of stuff that you don't have room for in your living room or your dining room or your bedroom per se? You put it in your fucking attic or you put it in your basement. And what are the two rooms or the two areas of the house that are the most likely to get wet or be wet? The basement or the attic. Because the attic is the top room right underneath the roof. And everybody's roofs have leaked at one point or another. And it always seems to be that these fucking games were right where the leak would be. Unfortunately. And then on the flip side, most basements are very damp. In general, just tend to be cooler, colder areas. And the same thing. Whenever it rained really bad or you got a bad storm, a lot of basements would leak or water would come down. Also, basements are usually where your water heater is. Or your water tank is. Those would leak, or a lot of pipes would be downstairs in the basement. If they exploded, or they would leak. And these fucking games would be right underneath them. So, it's really, really weird. Maybe I'm just a strange person, but I'm one of those people that when I put stuff away in a room, it doesn't matter what room it's in, I always make sure that it's like boxed properly. Or like if there's a lid, the lid is securely on the box. Or I make sure that I put it somewhere that it's like off the floor in case the floor gets wet. But not many people consider a lot of that stuff when putting stuff away. You just put it away, you fucking throw it in the basement, and you throw it upstairs. You know, you leave the fucking box wide open because nobody likes doing chores and putting stuff away. I'm like the only person who's anal about that kind of stuff. But I think about that kind of stuff when you put things away because accidents can happen at any point in time. So, you know. But anyway, that's my spiel about putting things away. But, you know, it's really sad to see stuff like this happen in these video games because being a collector, being a player of these games, I'm not just a collector, but I'm a player. I really enjoy playing these games. It really sucks to see these games get ruined, you know. Even looking at Kaboom, you know, you can kind of tell, you know, this might have gotten wet, you know, or this got something on it, you know, that shouldn't have gotten on it. So, you know, for all the people out there that have stuff like this, you know, take care of them. Because there's collectors and video game players out there that are willing to pay, you know, good money for this stuff, and if you take care of it, you'll get more money for it. But if it gets damaged, it's not really worth anything, and if you can't get it, if you can't even play it, then you might as well just toss it. So, something to think about. Alright, I think I gave you guys a mouthful about that. The last pickup from my Craigslist find is a game that I have always wanted from the Atari from the very start when I heard about the system years ago. It is Berserk. Super, super excited about this one. This is definitely going to be a game that I'm going to do a Let's Play on at some point. Basically, it's you running through sort of mazes. It's kind of a side-scrolling adventure, but you can go up, you can go down, you can go side to side, and you are shooting robots. The sound in the game is amazing. The effects in the game are off the wall for an Atari game. It's classic. It's awesome. It's a ton of fucking fun. Totally recommend. If you are an Atari player, find this game. If you like action games, find this game. If you like video games, find this fucking game. So much fun. It's really hard to describe. You kind of just have to experience it. It's sort of like adventure, but really, really good graphics for the Atari. But yeah, I finally own Berserk. Not in the best shape, but still pretty good. And obviously it plays. So that's the biggest thing there. So that's pretty much it. Those are all of the Craigslist pickups that I got. So thank you everybody for checking out this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. As always, great rest of your Tuesday. It's a beautiful day outside.